Well, hello everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics. My next special guest is writer, creator, that kind of does it all. It's incredible, Mr. Eli Stone. Eli, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm super excited to talk to you. Big fan of your work, my friend.
Really, really, really great to be here. I've seen your content. You do a great job. It's an honor. It really is. Um,
Likewise.
Now I see that you're listed as Tommy. Do I call you? By the way, for anyone watching this, this is not like a buddy of mine. This is not
Yeah.
let's create content out of nowhere. This is an official interview. I'm a real
It's
guy. He's a real. We're strangers. This is an
yeah.
actual show. I can't believe it. So
Yes,
it says
exactly.
Tommy. Do I call you Tommy?
Yeah, most people call me Tommy. Yeah.
All right. And you
Yeah.
know my actual name is Eli Five Stone.
Five Stone, correct. Yes. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the legal, and we
The
can get into
legal
that
name.
later if
I
you
would
want
love to
to.
get into that because I wasn't sure what the five represented, and that's definitely written down as one of the questions that I have right here.
Let's save it as a nugget
All right, let's save it as a
yeah,
nugget for
we'll
the
keep the string of viewers along. I believe
end.
you want to ask me about some sort of large blue colored event.
Yes, I would love to talk about this event. So we got September 10th, doors open at 6 p.m. The event actually starts at 7 p.m. It is a birthday bash for the Tick. Can you kind of give us a little bit more? I mean, this is really exciting. It's here in Los Angeles. So if you're in the Southern California area on the 10th, this is an incredible opportunity. I know you'll be there. There'll be a lot of amazing folks there that have had their hands dabbling in the Tick over the last I don't know how many years, but yeah, if you could give
30.
a little
That's is
more.
the This will be the in fact the impetus of this. The reason um that my partner Isaiah, and I actually should emphasize this is really his show. It's a guy named Isaiah Ferguson. He's a very talented animator, artist, real go-getter, just very, very hungry guy. And the nicest person you could ever meet. He had this idea. I ended up participating more and more and more. At this point, I call myself a co-host, but that's inflated. It's just easier to say that. I'm on the East Coast. There's only so much I can do, but I'm doing as much as I can for promotion, etc. So this came about as Isaiah is a huge super fan of the Tick. Living in Los Angeles, he's had a chance to interact with some of the creators. He and I became friends over the internet. I've still not met the man in person, believe it or not. It's really wild to be co-planning an event 3,000 miles away, right? 3,000 miles?
Yeah,
No, how
I think
far?
so. I think
Yeah,
if you're on the East Coast, that's about 3,000, I think.
yeah. With a person that you've never met. But he, like I said, he's such a sweetheart. You just like, I feel like we're already hugging, you know? And he had this idea that, he loves the Tick. He also loves Thomas the Tank Engine. Again, adorable guy. And he said, well, for the 30th anniversary of the Fox cartoon show, which is really, that was kind of the Tick's big splash. Let's do a sort of a reunion, see what we can get together. And it was just sort of not a throwaway idea, but we were just talking about it. And then the more we talked about it, the more real it got. And as soon as people started saying yes, like talent started saying, yes, I will show up, then we were like, oh my, this is actually happening. We're event planners. Like I event planned my own wedding, and and this is equally as complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really honestly, it is. It sounds hokey, but the whole thing is about love for the Tick. The Tick, Ben Edlund's creation has in Isaiah. I think I can speak for him, in my opinion, become woven into global pop culture and in only a positive way, which is very difficult to say about any other phenomenon. Even Game of Thrones, oh, well, it fell off at the end, or Marvel, okay, it's going off the rail. The Tick never went south.
Yeah.
There are like not as good episodes or comics, but it never jumped the shark. It never pushed it too far, and it never went dark. In fact, I was as dark as the Tick ever got. My If you ever look at my run, the Looney Bin
Yeah.
trilogy is pretty gets for the Tick. It's a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's a love fest, really. And, the people that we're asking to participate, we're not in much of a position to financially compensate. And that's not even the point. The point is, if you were a part of this and you feel like being around other people who are a part of this, you're more than welcome to come on down.
Right.
And we've gotten great response. So Ben Edlund is going to be there. Chris McCulloch, aka Jackson Public, of Venture Brothers, is going to be there. Both very good friends of mine, so I'm really looking forward to seeing them. And there'll be a question and answer panel, I guess, with Ben has agreed to that craziness. I don't know if I'll be on that or not. There's going to be prize raffles. In fact, let's see. I asked Isaiah to send me a list of some things that might be giveaways. Comics, various toys. I've seen these toys. I want them all. It's funny when the Tick toys came out.
Yeah.
I was kind of pissed because I didn't think they did a great job on them. 30 years later, they're so adorable and they're so Super 7, if you know the brand, like
Yeah.
chonky. And now I want them all, you know. I want the human bullet so bad. Fire
Yeah.
me, bullet.
Yeah.
You know. Tick season 1 DVD, at least one Funko Pop, some production material, like some signed material. So Isaiah's got a lot of really good stuff, like
That's
stuff
cool.
that I want, you know. Um, and those will be raffled off. And then there are going to be 3 full episodes of the cartoon shown, curated by Isaiah, Ben, and myself. And what else?
Well, you're
Oh,
working on
Townsend
something too,
Coleman
right?
is what's that?
Oh, you aren't you working on a
I am
something
I
for
am
this
doing
event too?
nothing but working on an animated short for this. Um, a lot of things happened this month, my wife's birthday, et cetera, et cetera. And I volunteered. In fact, at the very beginning of this, Isaiah, months and months and months ago, Isaiah said to me, "Well, I'm sure you can't come at 3,000 miles away, but if you'd like to contribute something." So not only am I going, flying 3,000 miles, staying in LA for 5 nights, promoting this, I'm also going to be doing in-store signings while I'm there. And it's just sort of like ballooned out of control in only the best way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
have I gone
we'll
off the
get
rails?
like brand new content for
Well,
the first time in a
yes,
while, right? In a short.
yes, in a short. So yeah, so all I'm doing, wake to sleep, is animating constantly, just relentlessly. In fact, I said to my wife the other night, the only thing that this is akin to is when I used to write pencil and ink and gray tone the Tick alone, because that was wake to sleep. I smoked at the time, cigarettes and coffee and drawing. There was no Photoshop. It was just me, a pencil, cigarettes, coffee, and paper and ink, and that, and constantly. And that's what this is like. Which is, I'm just thankful that my son is 11 and can make his own food now for the most part, because I am really being very selfish. I have to be honest. But my family's been really wonderful about putting up with me doing this cartoon. I'm up to about almost 3.5 minutes now, which, if you've ever done animation, is a decent amount.
That's
And yes, it will be, I believe, the first animated Tick content in 30 years
wow.
to mark the anniversary. However, it will be very, very different from the cartoon that you know on Fox. It's much more like if you have ever read one of my Tick comic books come to life.
Nice. Was there a certain storyline that you're taking from your time on Tick that you're utilizing within this short, or is the story brand new as well?
The story is brand new, and I had always wanted to do a 2-page short
Ah.
called Waving at Babies. And it's just the Tick and Arthur in a car, and it's virtually wordless. And I never did it, and I still might. But then I thought, wow, what if I extended this out and they were sort of arguing, but wait, I don't have access to the voice actors, so I've got to do sort of almost a pantomimed, silent music and sound based. It's a meal, I tell you. It ain't easy, but it's fun. I'm having a good time doing it, and hopefully it plays well. This has
Yeah.
only been my second short ever, and the first one I've lost. So
Yeah, yeah, no,
so
it
you might
sounds
call
like
this
you're
my animation premiere, really.
This is awesome, man. I
I
love
well,
it.
I hope it goes well. I mean, I'm literally down to it's down to the wire at this point. I'm just going 24/7 on that. But I'm happy. This is a nice break, frankly.
I
So
love
yeah,
it.
it should be a really good time. And I might as well mention where I'll be, if I may.
Yes, please.
I am doing an
Please.
actual interview with a guy I don't know, and I'm gonna plug events I'm gonna be at.
I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
It's I, It's like I'm on Conan O'Brien. This is crazy. So I'm going to be at Galaxy of Comics.
Yep.
This is this is hilarious to hear out loud from my own voice what I've heard on television for 50 years. It's so strange. I'm going to be at the Chuckle Basket. That was my Leno. Galaxy of Comics, noon to 4. That's in Van Nuys. And
Yep.
then that's going to be on Saturday the 7th.
Okay.
So, um, yeah, it's on the corner of Satakoy and Louise, if that means anything to anyone in the area. I'll also be talking about my book, my novel that I'm upcoming novel, Brick Mannigan Public Dick. I'll be selling stickers or giving them away, depending on how silly you are on camera. Uh, then I'm also going to be on Sunday the 8th. I'm going to be at Pulp Fiction Comics from 12 to 4, and that's in Culver City.
Yep.
And I like that idea. Oh, what's great about there's a reason I chose these venues to sign
Mhm.
at. I'll be sketching as well.
Oh,
And by
wow.
the way, I am new to this world again, right? I haven't done this for 25 years, and I'm
Yeah.
really jazzed about it, but I got to relearn a lot of stuff. So, Tommy, if you want to help out, like, what do I charge for a sketch? I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah, yeah, we
I'm
could do
thinking about
that.
why don't people do like $2 a minute, right?
Yeah.
You work for 20 minutes, you get
Yeah.
40 bucks. That's a decent price for a sketch for a 20-minute sketch, right?
Agree, agree. Yeah.
I'd be the first hourly paid artist alley. I'd do it.
I love
So what I like about these two places is that this one place, Galaxy of Comics, super nice guy. This guy, I want to say his name is, it's not Larry. Anyway, very, very, very nice proprietor. They have cats there, the whole deal. And uh, a lot of what I did on the Tick is either out of print or hard to find or not in high demand. And that's part of what makes it, in my opinion, cool is that it's culty.
Yeah.
If it were everywhere, it would be a little obnoxious. This is special. Even the venue itself only holds 100 people. This is going to be a small party. By the way, I'm looking for live streamers in the LA area. I would like anyone who wants to share this party with the globe
Yes.
as it happens. I would love that to happen. So this is an official call to anyone with a YouTube channel who wants content. You can live stream it, edit it later, whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this one place, and I'm sorry, I'm talking to Blue Streak. I apologize.
No, no, please.
The first place I'll be signing at, Galaxy Comics in, what did I say, Van Nuys.
Nice.
This guy says to me, "Wait a minute, Eli Fivestone? That's weird. I just got in a whole ton of your old Tick comic books."
No way.
But what do you? He just stumbled across a bunch of my own work. So this benefits him because I'll be able to sign things. He'll be able to sell them for more money, and that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And then the second place I like because they sell, that's on Sunday, Pulp Fiction Comics, is both comics and books. And I am straddling the world right now with my book, Brick Mannigan Public Dick, because it's an illustrated novel written very much like a comic book. Or if you've ever read my Tick work, it's almost like I'm describing the pictures in the, but you get in my opinion, you get, well, I wouldn't say a richer world, a different kind of world. And I can write a heck of a lot faster than I can draw. So I'm looking forward to lots more writing in my future as well. I'd like to write for comics again
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
That would be amazing. I think that would be incredible.
Well, I'm going to do a short, a 10-page short for Dolan Waddick, who you know,
Yeah.
who does Unholy Nightmare and many other things. He's an up and comer.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a hungry guy right there.
Yeah. He's
Um,
great. He's amazing.
yeah. So he's been nice enough to have me write an origin story for a certain character, and I'm really looking forward to doing that. And I this is kind of pie in the sky, but I would perhaps eventually like to be an editor,
Yeah.
only because I've worked for so many as a freelance illustrator and writer. I've worked for so many editors and art directors that I don't feel 100% comfortable around,
Mhm.
or I feel like they just feel like they need to. And I'm not talking about any in particular, so please no one take offense. And it's also the nature of your job as an editor to edit.
Yeah.
But I feel like sometimes, have you ever heard of the drawing the sixth finger? Does that
No,
mean anything
I
to
have
you?
no, no. What's that?
there's a penchant sometimes, and again, these are broad strokes and not for everyone, but among editors to need to correct, even if there's nothing incorrect, because it gives you value to your job. And maybe it's even subconscious, right? Like, oh, I'm here to make things run. Therefore, if I'm not doing anything, I must be ineffectual,
Yeah.
rather than thinking maybe it just came out right the first time. So legendarily, if
Yeah.
that's a word, artists, comic book artists, or maybe one artist, maybe Ditko or somebody, would put in a sixth finger so that the editors had something to correct and say, "Could you get you messed up? Could you get rid of that finger?" Right,
Yeah.
knowing full well that everything else is perfect.
Yeah.
I just need to give him something to complain about,
I love it.
or her,
Or
or
her.
her,
Or her.
or her.
Yeah. I love it.
So,
I do think that
so
is
I
a
would love to someday be an editor who just lets people do what they want, or guides people in a direction with constructive criticism, or has a challenging conversation about why would the character do this rather than, no, you can't do that, or rather than just do whatever you want. Some people need help. But anyway, I'm blathering. I'm sure you've got a myriad of questions.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Myriad away.
all right, sounds good. So we covered your tick run a little bit. Incredible run. I have collected works of
That's
some of your.
generous.
What's that?
That's generous to say.
Oh, come on now.
Incredible run.
Come on, Eli. Come on. I love the Tick. I grew up watching it. I'm 50, so the cartoon came out when I was a little bit later, but it's the one thing my mom and I would sit and watch. And then they had that one season of the live action on Fox too, which I absolutely loved. And then years later, right, they had a couple seasons on Amazon. But it was so different for people like me, the direction they went on, which is probably more true to who the Tick was. But because of that one season of Fox and the comedic nature of it and everything that we loved about it, it was it just wasn't the same. Although I loved it in a different way, right?
Are
But
you referring to the Patrick Warburton?
exactly, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
I was lucky enough. Hey, anecdotes. That also happens on interviews. Here's a
yeah,
story for you. No,
yeah.
I was lucky enough to be, I lived in Venice, California at the time they were filming that.
Oh,
And I'm friends with Ben and Chris, so I was lucky enough to be invited on set once.
nice.
And it was really wild to see Patrick Warburton and I had always been a fan of Patrick's anyway because of Seinfeld as Putty. And side note to the side note, when I write Brick Manigan, which is almost finished, the main character is a giant lout of an ignorant police officer. He is just a mass of muscle and no brain and constantly seeking justice before peace. When I write his dialogue, if it could not be said by Patrick Warburton, I don't write it.
Oh,
It's
wow.
he's got to, because when I met him, it's another okay. Triple side note. Ironically, Brick is not too dissimilar from Brock on Venture Brothers, which Chris would go on to create soon after I wrote the first draft of Brick Manigan after meeting Patrick Warburton on the set of The Tick with Ben Edlund. It all collapses on itself.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so Pat would be my I call him Pat like he would ever remember me, but Patrick Warburton would be my first choice of casting. What do you mean casting? You don't cast a novel, Eli. You can't. What? There's no actor in a novel. Eli is what you're saying, Tommy. Right? Right? Go ahead, say it. Don't
There's
be
no
an idiot,
actor
Eli.
in a novel.
What
Eli,
are
what are
you
you doing
talking about?
here?
Because this is the hook that I would, if in the best of all possible worlds. So Brick Manigan is an illustrated novel. So and the audiobook is going to be bonkers. It's going to be a radio play. It's not going to be a narrator because if you've read some of it, it's all
Yes.
sound effects. It's very bombastic, right? So I'm going to hire actors. It's going to take a lot, but I'm going to do this and I want people to have fun. I want people to have a lot of fun. Getting way off topic. What was I talking about?
No, no, you're doing great, right? We were talking about Patrick, how that's the voice in your head that you hear when you're writing Brick Manigan. You can't cast an actor for a novel,
But I want to.
but you
And
want
that's
to.
and that's the hook. So best of all possible worlds. Thank you. By the way, I have barely slept. best of all possible worlds. As I am illustrating this, I am purposely, and I sent you some illustrations, no?
No, no illustrations. I just got the 2 pages of the written work.
Oh, I didn't send you any illustrations. Oh, I apologize.
No worries.
Um,
You're in the
well,
middle of animating a new.
that's I do have a few things on my mind. Well, one thing. Um, so as I'm drawing this, every drawing I want to be a poster worthy drawing, a piece of graphic design, something that you could hang on a dorm room wall. And whether anybody does or not, that's the mindset, right? And I am purposely leaving out the face of Rick Manigan, the main character, because I would like to use. Forgive me, my dog is making weird noises.
Oh no, that's okay. We love dogs. We love dogs.
All right, hey Teddy, if you're gonna be weird, you might as well be weird on camera. All
On
right,
camera, Teddy. Oh,
there's
Teddy.
Teddy.
Oh, hi,
Teddy,
Teddy.
are you getting all the attention that you need now?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, buddy.
Just wants to figure out what's going on here.
So this is my insane pitch, and you are in the business much more than I am. So you tell me how crazy this is. I want to secure a known talent, a B-list actor, if you will, someone who would be down to clown. I'm not going to use that in the pitch meeting, down to clown. That's pretty unprofessional. You know, if you read, I don't know how accurate Instagram's posts are to people's personalities, but if you read, for example, Patrick Warburton's Instagram, Bruce Campbell, I'm looking for a guy who is willing to take a chance and who has like a masculine jaw, basically.
I think
So
Patrick would be amazing for Brick Manigan. I do.
uh, and they don't even have to pose. You know, if I get permission to use screen captures from Sony or whomever, or what, but however I go about it, this is what I would like to do. Best of all possible worlds. Walton Goggins stars as Brick Manning Public Dick, a novel by Eli Fivestone.
I love
And
it.
then I want to go on interviews and have people say, "What are you talking about?" And I'll say, "I don't care. Just read it."
Uh, just reading what I was able to read before the interview, I will tell you, man, to have that on Audible or something like that would be a blast to sit in the car and just it would be so much fun, Eli. The storyline is absolutely incredible. It had me in stitches in some parts. There's other parts where you're thinking there's a little bit of tragedy here in this person
Oh
that you
yeah. Oh
created
yeah. It gets pretty
also,
dark.
right? Like I don't want to give too much away because we want people to read it, but man, those first 2 chapters had me all kinds of emotional experiences, which was amazing.
I'm glad that you say that because it just gets heavier and weirder and crazier and faster.
Yeah.
It kind of explodes under you. I'm really really enjoying it. This is my first novel,
Well,
and
it's awesome.
it is a task. It is, and if you start investigating, novel writing and sales and the process and success rates, you realize you're now, I'm not being a downer on myself or on anything that I'm doing. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it right. And I'm going to do it in a popular, big way. I do
Yeah.
believe this. However, I know the odds are about 0.01%. However, I know I'm a beat the odds guy.
Agreed.
So, in other words, I am fully aware that I'm creating a product that may be $15 and someone is going to have to say, do I get that cup of coffee or do I get Eli's book? And it's a tough choice. It's what I'm creating is entirely expendable
Yeah.
unless and until you read it. And then
Yes.
it brightens your life. As you read more, it will make you think. It might make you even angry with me. I mean, I don't really take stances, but I point things out about this country, and I'm not talking about left. I'm not talking about right. I'm talking about weird. I'm talking about brutality.
Yeah.
You know, sex trade. All of these things that we have. Have you noticed that I only have one blurb? I only have one book review so far. Have you
Oh,
noticed that? Have you seen it?
I did, yes.
Shall we read it?
Can we?
Uh, it
Let's do
would be
it.
my honor. I've got to
Yeah.
call up my own website. I sound
Yes.
fancy. We're here, 5 on the web.
Yeah.
I don't even know where my own website is. So I got in touch. Well, no, a guy got in touch with me who is who is doing life in prison in Canada. And
This is
he,
already good.
oh, this is the best, dude. His girlfriend on the outside, and these guys, I don't know how they do it. They get girlfriends on the outside. And she contacts me, and I had done Eminem's portrait back in the turn of the century. And I did it as an ink sketch, as a preliminary to show the, I didn't actually interface with Eminem himself, but to show the publishers and the art directors. And apparently they showed it to Eminem, and he said, "I'll take it." And I'm
That's
like,
incredible, man.
so, and at the time, he was like famously just having a bottle of Bacardi before he went on, just out of his mind. You know what I mean? And I couldn't even believe, to this day, Eminem has been my easiest client. Isn't that a
Yeah,
weird thing to say?
that is
And
wild.
and I swear to God, I'm not trying to name drop here. I swear I'm not. Second easiest client, Tommy Lee, drummer of
Tommy Lee,
Motley Crue.
yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice. At the time, this is before cell phones with cameras. So at the time, I went to meet him to take, well, just really to meet him to see what he wanted for his book. And we happen to live not too far from one another. So, and he's just a kind of a fun guy. He likes to go and hang out. So he took me to lunch, and we had all this. Remember, Cristal was like the shit at the time. Rappers drank Cristal, whatever. It's
Yep.
just fizzy water, right? So we're bottle 3 of Cristal. And before cell phone cameras, I had gotten one of those little actual portable digital cameras. And I was kind of shy about it because people pay money for paparazzi photos. And I said, I don't mean to be rude, but, do you think that maybe I could take a couple pictures for reference? Oh, next thing, 10 minutes later, he's got his shirt off. We're walking down the beach. We're both drunk. It's the middle of the day. I'm like, and then he's taking direction because he's just so easygoing. And it's no longer a celebrity thing. It's no longer, it's just 2 guys, and I got a job to do, which is but we're also drunk, so we're having fun. So, so I'm like, all right, Tommy, angry. He's like this. I'm like, Tommy, Jesus Christ pose. He's like that. He did everything I asked him to. He was so chill. It was great. So yeah, ironically or not, uh, Tommy Lee and Eminem, 2 of the easiest. Oh, and my stepdaughter says she does not need a ride. So
Yeah. Oh, okay, very good.
so so I do this picture for Eminem. It gets published. One of the things I'm least proud of goes global, which is weird. And this guy in prison, I'm going to imagine, has a lot of time on his hands, and he loves Eminem, and he's read Eminem's autobiography a million times, and he's therefore seen the picture that I drew of Eminem a million times. He asked his girlfriend to ask me for a higher quality copy of it. And I've got nothing but sympathy for this guy. Even, I don't know, I mean, I know technically what he did, but whatever he did, I'm talking with her and then him eventually. I swear to God, and this is a quote I use often: if not for the homicide, nicest person you'd ever meet. Swear to God, great. Third best client, maybe. I swear to God, this
That
guy,
that
maybe
has to
maybe
be in
person.
Brick Mannigan somewhere. You have to use that with Brick Mannigan somewhere.
What's
If not
that?
for the homicide, great guy.
Well, I'm using it right now. So uh that was like a 30-year-old JPEG, 25. I didn't have a copy of that. I said, I'm sorry, I will send you higher. It's a long story short, he wanted a redraw of it. Literally sent me, had somebody send me cash to a PO box from Canada. I won't say how much, but it was not a small amount of cash
That
in
is
an envelope to
crazy.
a PO box in Canada. And I said, all right, long story short, I'll give you a discount if you read the first several chapters of my book and give me a blurb from a prisoner's point of view, because it's about an abusive police officer, or really an ignorant police officer. He doesn't, I don't know, it's very complicated. So So not only did he write me back, he make good on his end of the bargain promptly with the money, but also promptly with these blurbs. Gave me 7 of them. One of them being a satirical, behind the scenes take on the world of policing. Stone nailed it with this novel. Almost everyone I know in prison has encountered a public dick like Brick Madigan. This novel gives me flashbacks. Signed Daz Devon, first degree murder, 25 to life, Beaver Creek Institution, Gravenhurst, Ontario, Canada.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah, icing on the cake. His name is Daz.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, come on. You can't
Lovely
make
guy.
this stuff
But
up.
and by the way, I used that name and location with full permission from
Yeah.
Daz.
So on the
Again,
back of the novel, are you going to use his quote as one of the
I want to use honestly only blurbs from or mix them in because I do need some kind of credibility. But I want bodega store owners, I want prostitutes, I want police officers, I want anyone who could appear in the book to give their take on the book, even if it's negative. I'll print it. I
yeah,
don't care. I
Civil War reenactment people?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so that whole thing kind of touches on race. And I will
Oh
give
yeah.
this away. Brick
Yeah.
is extremely ignorant.
Yes.
Is he has about a rookie every other day. They don't really make it too long. For one reason or another, he eventually gets a black rookie.
Yeah.
He does not know what to do with that. Not because he's a racist, but because he's
Yes.
just so out of touch. But he also has no memory. So he
Yeah.
doesn't even have anything to fall back on, like this is what humans do when
Yeah.
encountering another kind of human.
Right,
He's
right.
just, you know,
I love it, man. I love
ignorance is
it.
no excuse for being a bully, but
Yeah.
at if I am doing anything at all, I'm giving insight into the mind of the part of America that is bullying. And I do not mean left, right. I'm talking about all of us right now are bullying one another. So
Absolutely.
I'm using one, and my wife says, you got to watch out. You're going to have people like, my sister's going to be, she's liberal. She's going to be so pissed at you.
Yeah.
You're going to have MAGA people saying, I agree with you, right? But I'm not on anybody's side,
Yeah.
right? I'm just observing. More of
Yeah.
a George Carlin stance.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I think
We are
that's
all fools. We could all
yeah,
learn. And so here's an
absolutely.
extreme example. Thank you for
100%.
indulging me with so much time about something that that doesn't even exist yet. And by the way, if
Yes.
anyone is wondering if they've made it this long, I'm shooting for uh, I would say spring for book and audio book.
Yeah.
Uh, book is clearly going to be done before audiobook. Release of them simultaneously or staggered will depend on how long it takes me to make the audiobook. And I've never done it before. I've voice directed before, which I really enjoy, but I've never assembled talent. I don't know how to, I'm a freelance illustrator. The worst thing that you could ever ask a freelance illustrator is, hey, could you draw my tattoo for free? Everybody will see it forever. And yet here I am in a position of wanting to cast how many 30 people. I
Yeah.
can't afford 30 anything. So then I'm going to have to do favors for favors or something like that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's going to be good. I'm a terrible, it's another side nugget that nobody really needs to know, but I'm telling you anyway. I'm not the best sleeper, and I found that sleeping with one of those sleep bag, it's like a head of like
Eye patch, like the one that goes over your
yeah.
eyes.
Why can't we think of the word for it?
I don't know
Eye
what it's
mask,
called. Yeah.
with little Bluetooth speakers. I fall asleep to something that I'm not invested in, so it gives me sort of a white noise.
Yeah.
And so what I fall asleep to every night for the past 2 years are old radio shows. So like 1940s, 50s, and 60s radio shows.
Yeah.
Oh, I even heard one. It was so cool. We interrupt this program to tell you that tanks have just entered South Korea or something like that. There was no Korean conflict. It was literally just an update that a tank had gone somewhere. And I listened to the beginning of the Korean War. It was so crazy. But yeah, so I'm really influenced by and I wasn't actually when I started the book, but when I thought about turning into an audio book, I
Yeah.
thought it really deserved creaking doors, typewriters, gunshots, all of that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That would be so much fun, Eli. I think that would be, yeah, it's going to be a blast. I cannot wait for the audio. The book, I think people are going to have a blast with it. The first two chapters that you sent over to me, so much fun. Like I said,
I
there's
let me send
laughter,
you
there's
more.
strategy. It's incredible, incredible.
I'm glad that you like it. I'm glad you like it. I'm really, really enjoying. No word is wasted. So even if a person doesn't like it, I am sure to my core that the reader will say he tried his very best. He tried it. There's nothing. There's no fat. There's no. You can only disagree with it,
Yeah,
or you can not like it, but you
yeah,
can't say I didn't try.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely,
It's the
100%.
hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you, and I'm glad that
Thank you.
this is taking place. Obviously, a huge passion for you. You could see it in the writing, and even just us talking about it. I cannot wait to read the whole thing. Love to have you come back on once it's out into the public, and I would love just to highlight some parts, just to dig into with you where your mindset was when you came up with that idea. I think it would just be so much fun, and we'll go in all kinds of weird directions. I think after that, which I think would be amazing for people to watch because it is a hoot, man. Um,
Well, clearly, I have no shortage of things to say about it. So,
I love it. As you should, right? As you should. As you should.
it's a book is such a long project when you're trying to hold down a job, raise a family, and then just if you're the person in the house who fixes things, you're kind of constantly fixing things. It is really daunting to know that I don't know. Art has an immediate satisfaction about it. I can be done with a piece in 3 days, and then I can sit back and look at it and go, wow, that feels good. I like the way it came out. I am so far from where I started, linearly, time-wise, mentally. I don't even know what I was doing at the time that I began this, and then I don't even know where I'll be by the time that I finish this. So this entire interim, the important part, the writing part, you're flying on faith. It's nothing but faith. I
Wow.
literally recorded myself on FaceTime, well, on video the other day, just saying, "Don't give up, Eli. This is going to work. It doesn't matter that you're 53. You can have your own intellectual property. Work hard. It will happen." And
Agreed.
you just have to believe that because, again, I understand what my odds are, and they ain't great, but I'm going to make them great.
But it's happening. I mean, I read it. So it's happening. So you're already
Well, we're here now.
you're on your way,
We're
my
here
friend.
now. And apparently I'm co-organizing an event in Los Angeles, which is that's pretty neat.
It is pretty neat. And the tick is so iconic, and I'm so glad that this event is going to take place. I'm hoping that I could actually make it as well. I live near Palm Springs, but I've had some health issues, so I haven't traveled as much, although I just got done telling you that I came to Utah to pick up my daughter. But I would love to be there. Like I
I
said,
was going to say I'm sorry to hear it, but clearly you're a hypocrite.
exactly.
I'm
Clearly.
too tired to travel. No, I'm sorry if you're sick.
No, no,
That you're
no
that
problem.
you're
No
sick.
problem. Yeah. No, Eli, I
No,
was
we'd love
I
to
was
have you out.
I would love to be there, man. I would love to meet you in person. I think that would be fun. I was just trying to find in here you again,
Ask me anything.
getting to know you a little bit. You had a candid interview by Sally Vacuum,
Oh,
new Steam 17. So I'm reading this and I'm like, I don't know if he's messing with all of us as he's doing this interview, but then you had this one nugget where you said that you were on MTV 120 minutes in the
yes.
intro. And so I'm like, he's messing with me. I don't know what he's talking about. So I went on YouTube and watched the intro, and there is somebody that looks like you getting his head shaved.
Yeah, that's me.
That is so wild. So then I was like, holy crap, this is like a real legitimate, like he's telling the truth in this. I
Oh
wasn't sure
yeah.
if it was just kind of a joke or what, but that is
No, I mean,
awesome, man.
there's a little bit of kidding in there, but no,
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived an extremely colorful life. I'm on like career 4,
Yeah.
it's I flew myself to Japan with no money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there for
So
3 months or something like that. I think I read. But
yes.
you're truly fluent in Japanese as well.
No, no, I
Oh,
wouldn't
okay.
say fluent. I mean, at the time, I did all right. And if I'm
Yeah,
at a Japanese restaurant, I can do okay. But
yeah, yeah,
when I was there, I was 23, hanging out with 20-year-olds,
yeah.
and the Japanese language is structured in such a way that it's kind of more and more deferential and proper. It's almost like two different languages. I couldn't understand the news at all, but I could understand my younger friends because it's much more slangy.
Yeah.
And I still talk to my dog in Japanese. I still have a Japanese friend who I speak to fairly regularly, and he says that I still sound okay. But
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah, there's only so much you can teach yourself in 3 months.
Yeah,
で
exactly.
も、今は、もう大体喋れる。Now I can pretty much speak.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that little snippet of you being on an MTV 120 minutes opening, I thought was so unique. Like you said, fourth career, you've done some pretty unique stuff. Is
That
there?
was a trip in itself.
Yeah.
I was managing a store on Newbury Street, the fancy street in Boston, and it was just like the movies. By the way, I was raised on television. I was a latchkey kid. Phil Donahue was my other dad, and General Hospital, MASH, All in the Family, all that stuff. So where was I going with this? Oh,
Oh, the 120 minutes, the
120 minutes.
MTV, how that all
So
happened?
yeah, so I have these images in my head of what things are supposed to look like and act like, and even like the way couples interact. Like I think if my wife threw a dish at my head, I'd be like, yeah, that happens, right? Which is domestic violence, but like people do it on TV, so to me it's normalized.
Yeah.
And so to be able to see, I keep losing my train of thought. Forgive me, I'm so tired.
No, no, it's okay. Yeah, you were in Boston, the MTV 120 minutes, and
Right.
how that
So,
all came about.
yeah, so to be able to be that person on TV is trippy, but even the way that, and thank you for
No,
catching, helping me catch up.
yeah.
Even the way that came about was just like the movies because I was working in this store. The director came in and basically said, "That's right, you've got the face. All right, you've got the head I need." And like I'm at the Brown Derby, and I'm getting discovered as a young starlet or something. And the next thing you know, we're at this armory in Boston, this old stone building. And it was a really fun experience. It was like $200 just to enjoy yourself. And everyone and everything in that video, those, they call them bumpers, the pre and post commercial stuff. And in the opener, I got to interact with and meet. So there's a giant lizard. So there was a lizard wrangler, and I met him, and I got to pet his, lizard. And there's a chalkboard. I helped put that together, and
Yeah.
I just happened by coincidence to know the young woman who did the tattoo on my head. So yeah, that was a great time. That was a really fun time.
Yeah, that was so unique when I read that. I'm like, this can't be true. And then I hear on YouTube going, oh my God, there's Eli right there. All right.
Yeah, no, there are weird places that I pop up. Like if you've ever heard like back in the day when Ryan Reynolds was becoming Ryan Reynolds, he did National Lampoon's Van Wilder. I get this call from Artisan Entertainment. Eli, we need radio spots like yesterday. And I'm like, I've never written for radio. So within a half hour, they get, and I'm still proud of this one. National Lampoon's Van Wilder. It's not a film; it's a movie. Which, if you get it, you get it. In other
Yeah.
words, it's not pretentious. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So yeah. So if you've ever heard that, I ran into a girl once who said, "Oh my God, you wrote the Van Wilder Handbook to Partying? I used to live by that in college." So yeah, Red Robin Restaurants was one of my
Red
first
Robin, yeah.
clients. Yeah, so it's yeah, I've been around.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, man. You have such an amazing background. Absolutely incredible. Man, Rick Manigan, public dick. I put in a note, detective for Major City Police, or is he?
Well, and if I may, it's a major.
A major. You're
because
right. You're right.
he lives in a major city,
That's
which
right.
is again one of the through lines is
I
that
love
Arlen
it.
Major, who was a turnkey, he was both Southern and Northern, depending on who was winning at the time. However, he could profiteer.
Uh,
Arlen Major founded the city, so he's and that is a great workaround for the equivalent of Springfield on The Simpsons. It's just a
exactly.
major city. It's a
Yeah.
major city, right?
Yeah.
But it kind of gets funny even to me, even after years, just to say a major police department. Like, where do you work? A grocery store, So
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited for this book to come out. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. You have at least one customer with me, Eli. I am excited to read the rest of it. It is, I literally had a blast. I read it. It just went like that, and I'm like, wow, there's not more. So I think you got something really special going on here, and I'm really excited for you.
besides my homicidal friend in Canada, you're my second fan.
Yeah,
I don't
very
think
good.
my wife hasn't even really read it. So if you would like, send me your email and I'll email you a PDF of what I've got so far.
That would be
It's
amazing.
wrapping up. I mean, all the story beats are in. It's just filling in the meat of it.
I would love
This
that, Eli.
kind of it started as a comedy, turned into an action comedy, turned into a romance action comedy. Now it's a romance action comedy murder mystery.
Yeah.
So it is a very intricate puzzle as a writer
Yeah.
to keep all of those things going. I basically made my job as hard as possible. And if you'll note, I chose a trope. I chose
Yeah.
the over the top cop on purpose. I chose
Yeah.
that because I'm always trying to be original, innovative, outside of the box. If you see a box, you're an idiot in the first place. My wife's always telling me, like, don't worry, but just do what you want. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do the opposite of both her and me. I'm going to do the thing that everybody else does and do it better. I'm going to do it better and different. I'm going to take a thing that already exists and I'm
Yeah.
going to tweak it and revamp it and I'm going to make it because there are no new stories and you're fooling yourself if you think there are.
Exactly.
So so this cop is going to be different from any other cop ever.
Yeah.
And
You
don't
definitely
forget,
get that feeling in the first two chapters for sure.
yeah, don't forget our colorful cast of characters,
Yes.
Captain Man-Hours,
Man hours.
Ixworth the coroner. He's going to meet a dog who I let my son name Alan. His dog is going to be Alan.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm still accepting tidbits and little Easter eggs from people. I'm gonna have up in the corner. I'm gonna have a Ben Edlin piece. He when I was at his apartment last time, he showed me this sketch, and it was just this guy with blonde hair and one eye, and it says "Hot Cyclops." So that's gonna be in the corner somewhere. And then there is an artist who I call the only AI artist.
No.
No air quotes. Legit. His name is Dougie Pledger. I've known him online for a long time. He was the first person putting stuff out in Mid-Journey. He assembles full stories. He really, really, really works hard at it. He's blowing up now. I was lucky enough to get him before he blew up. I have I have in this book a prostitute. This is a confidential informant of Brickman again. She's a prostitute. Can't believe I'm even saying this. You know who my target audience is? 38-year-old dads and their 14-year-old sons who steal this from under the bed. That's my target audience. That's what I want. Kids who are, this is just a bit too much for kids. And
Yeah.
yet I was sneaking this book when I was a kid.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Lexi, the prostitute, she cannot get work, let's say. She's hot as hell. Her selling point, for lack of a better term, is that she appeals. I'm going to say this out loud. She appeals to pedophiles because she looks like she's 14. She's well of age,
Yeah. Yeah.
but she has a youthful look.
Yeah.
And yet, and the way she sees it, if she is paying her rent by committing this act, she is also saving a girl from being molested. But so this is what I'm doing in this book is putting all of morality on trial and on in
Yeah.
the gray area and just kind of pointing it out like
Yeah.
what is right
Yeah.
and wrong. Anyway, the reason Lexi never gets any work is she is flawless except for one arm is hideously malformed to the point that I can't even describe it in the book and I can't draw it
Yeah.
because if I did, it would be too literal. And you have to imagine how
Yeah.
horrific this gray pink glistening lobster claw of pustulence is, right? So she keeps a shawl over it. But I do have a reflection in the side mirror of her arm. And I asked this man, Dougie Pledger, to design the most hideous skin and just email it to and he did. He designed for me her hideous arm. So there's a
Yeah.
little bit of Dougie Pledger in there, a little
Yeah.
bit of my family in there, maybe a little bit of you in there if you throw me something genius. Who
I
knows?
love it.
So I'm sorry, I'm blathering on about brick manning.
No,
I'm just
no.
very excited about it.
Nah, you should be. You should be. I mean, what an accomplishment, Eli. Eli, the last question I have, we kind of talked about at the very beginning, but what is the five?
All
Eli
right.
Five Stone. How did that happen?
So when I was 14, I was on my way to school and kind of bitching about my name, Eli Jared Gerber, and the fact that I didn't love it. And my father, I was talking to my father, his name is Rick Gerber, which I think is a great name. It's got a nice hard front and kind of an organic and it's even Gerber is very it's ethnic, but from where? Like it could be Jewish, German, French, Gerbe, you don't know, you know. And I literally don't know. I'm estranged from my family. I can never find out who I am or where I come from, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm on my way to school and I say, "Yeah, I don't love Gerber." And he says, somebody should do something about that. Yeah, my mother didn't love that either. Somebody should do something about that someday. So for my 27th birthday, I changed my name to my mother's maiden name. I figured if my parents had been opposite genders, I would have been born Eli Stone. So I was in court changing it to Eli Jared Gerber Stone. And then I realized, being as neurotic as I am, that's four names, and four is the Japanese number of death, which is not good, and five is my lucky number. And then I said, well, to the court clerk, can I put the number five in there? She goes, F5. And no, the digit five. And she says, well, I've never seen that before. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've never had this request. She said, I had to request that a man wanted to change his name to Adolf Hitler, and I sent it before a judge, and that was a hard no. So I'm going to send you before a judge. So after waiting 20 minutes in probate court, no, 40 minutes in probate court, and the judge is dealing with actual issues. It's probate court. If you've ever been, it's worse than the DMV. It's people arguing about property and failed marriages and things like that. It's awful. So I get up to the judge, the first and last time, hopefully, I ever say Your Honor,
Yeah.
and he's like, "You want your name?" It was so ridiculous. He laughed me out of court. He was like, "Yes, whatever. I don't care. I'm doing real things here." So that's how I got Eli
That's awesome.
Five-Stone, which is actually a great. It works for me well. People have started, calling me Five over the years, Five or stuff like that. Five-Stone Creative, multimedia, etc. It works as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, five has just always been my lucky number. I grew up at Five Chapman Terrace, five fingers on a hand. That's how I make my living. E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. Capital E is one, two, three, four. Well, one, two, three, four, five equal segments, et cetera, et cetera.
That's awesome, yeah. Incredible. Well, five is my favorite number, believe it or not, and it was because Brian Downing, who played for the Angels, because I'm a baseball fan, wore number five. So I wore number
Oh,
five my whole life.
no
And
way.
yeah, five has always been my favorite number because of Brian Downing. So
All
not
right.
as sexy of a story, but
Well, I'm sure it was after he tried to change his name to Adolf Hitler. I'll settle for Downing, but Hitler would have been sick.
Oh, Eli, man.
Now at bat, number five,
Hey,
Adolf
off.
Hitler.
Everyone's like, no one claps. Like,
Every ball right to the head. Low and inside on purpose.
yeah, exactly. Well, Eli,
Well,
I am so excited to have this opportunity to meet you. I hope this isn't our last time.
oh, certainly not. No,
I
because
would,
I've got a book launch at some point.
yeah, we got to have
I'd
you
love for
back
you
for
to
the
be a
book
part of it.
launch. I'll be one of your first customers, I promise. I love it. And I'm hoping that I could get down there September 10th. Doors open at 6 p.m. The event starts at 7 p.m. I'll put
Yeah,
the address below. That way
thank
everyone
you.
has it. And I'll put the link so they can purchase their tickets right now. They're going to be able to obviously meet you. They're going to meet a lot of other folks that have been part of this amazing IP over the last 30 something years. Incredible. It's been a big part of my life growing up. It's the one thing my mom and I could watch together and really laugh and have a blast. And man, I just rewatched the live action Fox about maybe a year ago just because I missed it, and it was just as good as the day that I watched it.
I
It was
I
really
was there the day they filmed one of my favorite lines that the Tick, any iteration of the Tick has ever uttered, cartoon, comic book, live action, or otherwise. And it's probably not going to sound funny here, but I see Patrick Warburton on stage on set, and it's a rooftop. But of course, it's at my level. But you have to imagine it's a rooftop, and he's walking along, and he goes, "Oh, who puts gum on a roof?" Because he had stepped in gum. But it's just the most oddball thing to say. Who puts gum on a roof?
yeah,
That is very Ben Edlund.
they're all up there having a beer. Sometimes they're
Yeah.
barbecuing. I love it. Yeah,
Who
absolutely.
puts gum on a roof?
Oh, I could just hear his voice going, oh.
Yep. So
Well,
yeah, no, this has been a real pleasure and a real honor, and I not just hope to, we will do this again.
I hope so, Eli Five Stone. And I'm gonna put down the Brick Manigan website so people could go there now. If you go there, you could
Please
put
do.
your email and you'll get the first 2 chapters and you'll be able to check it out. I'm telling you, you don't want to miss out on this book. And then I'll also put the Eli Five Stone website. I'll put your socials. That way people can follow you and stay up to date with everything that you got going on, if that's okay with you.
I really appreciate that. I do have a portfolio site of my artwork, but my Instagram is much more up to date when it comes to art and all things brick. My Instagram is unfortunately Eli Five Stone Books with underscores between each one because I did it on an actual keyboard instead of on my phone.
Yeah.
So it's you, you basically have to type out the whole Bible to find my Instagram. But
I'll make it easy for everybody. I'll put a link below and
I
people can
appreciate
go
that. And
over
the
and
club,
everything.
by sheer coincidence, that is hosting is called El Cid or El Cid,
Really.
who was a character on the animated show, which is just beautiful serendipity.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you
Well,
so much, Tommy.
Eli, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. And it has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, my friend.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Have a
All right.
terrific day. And thanks everybody who sat through all of this.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome. Had a blast. All right, Eli, till next time, my friend. We'll talk soon.
Signing off.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.